we would use 25,000 tons of sulfur. And that would decrease 1 year's worth of greenhouse gas if we carry on pumping out at the same rate we're doing right now. 1 year of greenhouse gas temperature rise. The next year, we'd have to use 50,000. And then the next year, on and on, because it's a cumulative effect. And after 10 years, we'd be using 500,000 tons of sulfur. Now let me put that in perspective, though, because it does sound like a large number. But Mount Pinatubo, in 5 days, shoved up 7 million tons of sulfur, and human industrial activity puts up 30 million tons of sulfur into the atmosphere every year. So while the idea of putting sulfuric, and this is sulfuric acid we're talking about, spraying sulfuric acid, while it's a scary idea, it's not exactly a great acceleration on what we're doing already. I'm not saying that that's necessarily a good thing, but just to put it in perspective. And the thing is that these, at the moment, we're talking about sulfuric acid particles to make this sulfate aerosols. And what the advantage of that is they'll come out of the atmosphere quickly after a year, so that if we don't like the effects, we can turn it off. They're working on what do they call them? I forget the word, but they're nanoparticles that they're going to try to make these are about a tenth of a micron in size, and these photovoltaic, whatever they are, nanoparticles are such that because the radiation's at a different wavelength hitting them on either side, because they're little platelets, they will stay up aloft, and they will stay up there. And so the potential is that if we like the stratospheric aerosol effect, then maybe we could use these inert particles that will stay up, that will have a longer life. But we don't want to use long life ones at the start, because we might want to turn it off. And then getting these things, if they're floating up there on their own, back down, would not be feasible. The last danger I want to mention about stratospheric aerosols is the potential for destroying ozone. There is a risk factor right there. So, I'm up. Finished.
Okay, well, thanks a lot. Does anybody have any questions? Eric?
Wouldn't, as you have sulfur coming back after a year or so, wouldn't it be coming back as acid rain?
It would be. Yes. Yes, it would be. But, when I say that, I wanted to, putting it into perspective, we're talking about after 10 years of putting up 500,000 tons of sulfur in comparison to 30 million tons of sulfur that we're doing anyway.
Could you use the acid rain to weather rocks and sequester CO2?
It is actually, there are various methods out there of making strong acids and making strong bases to use, and you basically put the strong bases in the ocean to increase the alkalinity of the ocean, to increase its carbon dioxide, the amount of carbon dioxide it can take in, and then you use those strong acids to weather rocks. Yes, that technology is being looked at. It's all energy intensive, though. That's the trouble, So what you've got to get to do is make your energy out of the sun, out of the wind, and then use that energy to then gather back all the carbon dioxide that we've kicked out in the last 150 years.
I'm going to see if I can talk Kevin into hanging in until the end of our meeting, because we'll be going over to Bricktown for a beer, and maybe if folks have questions.
Sounds like a good offer.
Sounds like a good plan?
Yes.
Are any of these slides visible for viewing somewhere?
These slides?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Not from me, but these. I got these out of this Royal Society paper, and I can give you a link to that.
Okay.
Would you be able to let us have it and post this on our website?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
You said in the Alaska oil fields, they burn off the gas, goes into the atmosphere, and to capture it, as you suggested, would not be economically feasible for them to do.
They can't transport it out of there. That's the problem.
They can't transport it out of there.
Mm-hmm. But it's coming out of the well, and so they've got it. They've got it, and then they're burning it because they can't get it out of there. Yeah.
My other question related to that is, you said that corporations are aware of this more than we think, you know, to do something about climate change. But then you said they would have to make money, given a proposition that would make money for them. So where's the moral implication in all that?
Well, I mean, what we have to do, if carbon dioxide was like household garbage, you know, we would have solved this problem by now, because you know we produce about 30 times more carbon dioxide per year, greenhouse gas per year, than we do household garbage, and so we would have solved the problem. But nobody's paying for it. We're not paying for the waste. And you know, we've got to put a price on carbon, you know, somewhere between 40 and $100 a ton.
So it's waste.
Because that's what it is. It is. You know, in Britain, you know, they have this argument about, you know, well, Britain's electricity costs are high. One reason is because when the nuclear power plants were built, what was built into the pricing of them was the disposal of the nuclear wastes and you know, the whole decommissioning of the plant. With coal-fired power plants, they don't do that. You're not charged for the waste.
I think I'm going to have to control it because we do have a meeting we want to get to. So I do want to encourage you to stay with us. We have a couple of action items that we want folks to work on today. And thank Kevin very much for stimulating. If you could put the chairs back in these little racks, that would be very helpful.
Okay, you stay. Holy.
You need to sort right. It wasn't that clear?
Oh, you bet. I got it.
The economics, price.
It's not coming to be nice.